I know what you're up to. So Steven launched AI CMO today, and he's very excited. And what did you call it? You pulled a cut. He's leaving town for 5 days. Like as soon as it launches, and it was so... It's art. It was high art. That's like a Steve Jobs move. That's like a Woody Allen when he's nominated for an Oscar would never go to the Oscar ceremony. He'd go play his clarinet at his favorite club all night and just tune the whole thing out. So I understood what you were doing. I fully respected the fact that as soon as it launched, you were going to like go like meditate in the wilderness for 5 days.
Let them handle it.
Yeah, that's what you call it. Burning the ships. Who did that?
It's Cortez.
It's Cortez. Uh-oh. We're talking about the oppressor then, on that end.
Yeah.
Which is very juxtaposed to talking about Victor.
I know.
This isn't going to be cut. This is interesting stuff we're putting in here. I think the launch of AI CMO needs to be recognized today. And the fact that Victor had a lot to say about what you're up to, putting love into business. He got very excited about that.
We got to talking to business later in this show for just a brief stretch, and I really took to heart his... I won't give it away, but his philosophy around that, very influenced by his father in that regard. And his father, by the way, he talks about his father being a hitman, and a little story about Godfather, horse in the bed thing, and also how well his father did at gambling in Las Vegas. But so there's this background history there that could probably go in like the Vegas Mob Museum or something. That's a very interesting story. But the books he's known for, it's Reign of Gold.
Reign of Gold is his all-time bestseller.
It's all-time bestseller, and he's now just releasing
Gathering Stardust. So this is Victor Villaseñor. Did we say his last name? Victor Villaseñor. He is our first silent generation offering for you all. Victor is 84 years old. He'll be 85 in May, a wee 2 days shy of when my dad would have been 85 if he had been alive.
And you guys have a lot of alignment.
There was a very
in a lot of ways.
father-like synergy. Victor he'll tell us, but he I think this is well known a little bit. So his dad was a hitman, but then did you skip by that part when he talked about being wanting to be a mass murder and like start murdering everybody, and then he had a revelation that stopped him?
He's talked about this before, his rage he had as a young...
Victor's rage, yeah.
Yeah, and kind of his background and why he felt that way. And then going back to Mexico, going back to hearing his stories.
Yes.
And how empowering that was versus, the stories in America about stuff. But now he heard stories about his background and his culture, and that really changed how he thought from a young age, age 20.
It was 19, I think. And 19. It was like that decision he made there. What I'm noticing a lot with our guests that I'm really learning from and loving and relating to is how many of them have these moments in their life where it really is like a decision making. What's the expression for that?
Pivotal.
Yeah. And what we choose is always interesting. And it's been fascinating listening to everyone's story. I've seen that as a pattern. And so it's been really nice hearing from these, especially different generational people. And Victor has a lot of those decisions he made.
And he's a great storyteller, first off. I mean, obviously. But as we're talking him through things, really we got to kind of bliss in a way with him. And it was around, I think, work really. And how you can find that bliss in work and what we should be pursuing in that. And I don't want to give away his whole talk there, but I loved it so much. It was a great interview. And we're supposed to have him back, go have some tequila in the backyard.
Oh, yes.
I owe him that. We didn't have a bottle.
That's going to be added to this table soon as a nice bottle of tequila, because I think we're learning as we grow here. We could talk all day, but he's going to talk so much more eloquently and entertainingly than we are right now. So thanks for letting us introduce you or have you eavesdrop in. No, what's the expression? Here's Victor Villaseñor.
Liquid Bliss Worldwide. I've watched Blindside so many times and
Oh, for
admired
real?
the way she walks, and finally, I didn't have to imagine.
I know.
You sure they didn't use a stunt double?
No.
Oh, they didn't. Okay.
It was
Yeah.
her.
Well, I can't speak to that. How about that? Out of respect for Miss Bullock.
Well, let's just
It
let's,
may- it
let's
could have
just say, I watched that movie so many times and I saw the commercial. That was her.
So you
I
really,
can positively say that was hers.
you really liked Sandra Bullock then.
Oh yeah.
So in the synchronicities of the world, with our new friendship, it's really quite beautiful that was my leading lady for my big movie about my father's country, Bolivia. It's Sandra Bullock. That's a good synchronicity between you and I. Like, she really is one of your favorites, you promise?
No, not one of my favorites. My favorite.
Yes.
I've for years I've
filming?
admired
Yeah,
her.
we're doing whatever.
No, keep going. This is what I'm talking
Well,
about.
tell me when we're going to start.
These stories are going to be part of it.
Oh, we started?
It's recording.
It's recording. We can cut out whatever or keep whatever.
No, this is perfect. Keep going.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you, why am I here?
Well, right now, why are you here?
Why am I here?
So we're going to stop the Sandra Bullock conversation because you were getting to the good there.
Oh, I was getting to the good stuff here. Okay.
Yeah, because why you're here is because you're my friend. So keep going, my friend, on Sandra
Okay.
Bullock.
Well, Sandra Bullock's one of my favorite scenes of her in Blind Side.
Yeah.
Is the way she defends that big black kid, and the way she tells him, okay, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the tough way. And she intimidates him. You know, he's a giant. She's so little. And then when he's playing football and this other guy on the other team knocks him down and makes a fool out of him, and the father in back yells at him and yells, degrading him because he's black and all that, she turns around in the stand and yells, "You shut up your mouth or I'll come up here and shut it for you." And the husband's like, "Oh God," and but she does. I just like her character. Her character is what women need to learn.
But don't you like her in everything because she's that way in everything?
Yes.
In her first movie, Speed, with Keanu Reeves, where she drives the bus, was when I first, it was like her, and she had such control of that bus, and every role, and working with her on set, they actually switched roles. It was supposed to be a man playing that role. They gender swapped it so that because she's tough enough to play a political consultant who could take down the enemy and have she was the best. And who she is in real life is very, very similar to what you're talking about now. And that character she was playing, it was because that mom was, that character was based on the real woman who, because the true story.
Yeah.
So,
it's
and she
based
wants
on-
to play those people. Yeah, she's the best. So is that your kind of, like
Well,
we're going to start talking about your book at some point, Gathering Stardust, but was your grandma like Sandra Bullock? Who's like Sandra Bullock to you in your life?
all the women. All of them. My father would tell me that his chaparrita little mother de Oaxaca, a prietita, about 4'10", 95 pounds, she married this big, tall, handsome Spaniard with blue eyes, drop dead gorgeous, and he would fight and get tough and all that, but then he'd fall apart real easy. And she at night would tell him that he's fine, he's doing great, and would put him back together, because he would say, "I'm a Villaseñor. I come from royalty. I was the knights that protected the kings. We have generations of this and this and this." And the Villaseñors are such crazy people that when the Battle of Puebla, the Mexicans and the French were trying to take over Mexico again, and the battle was at a tie. Then all of a sudden, the newspaper read, the Opinión said, "Aquí venían los locos." Here came the crazy Villaseñores con su gente, with their people, their farmers, their workers.
Okay.
And then the French were saying, well, they're blonde and blue-eyed, red-headed, blonde, they're going to side with us. And the Mexicans are saying, no, they're going to side with us because they've been here for generations. Well, they came in with such rage that they turned the tide of the entire battle that Mexico was losing. And they found, and I'll start crying, they found Jesus Maria, Jesus Mary Villaseñor, was killing the French, and he was 1 kilometer past the lines, surrounded by them and still killing them before they took him down. And that gave such vitality and lifted the spirits of the Mexican people that they won the battle. They won that battle. And my father always told me that the spirit of a man is incredible. But he said, on the other hand, if it doesn't have wisdom, if it doesn't have foundation, it doesn't last and it's worthless.
Yeah.
And he said, that's why my mother, he would yell that he was a Villaseñor in the daytime and he was tough enough. Then at night, he'd start doubting himself and he'd wonder what this, and he'd start falling apart. And she would say, you're doing fine, my love. And she'd put him together and hold him, and he was like a little lost kid. And my father said, all men are basically lost little kids. And that's why they have a structure religiously and politically so they can be, Father knows best. And he said, that's a lie. Father doesn't know best. Father is insecure. It's women who are connected to the moon with their moon flow that they know. And they have the juicio. They're the eje. They're the hub of a family and of society. So all societies that are going to survive have to have strong, powerful women that are so strong that they inspire their men to do good. Because men on their own, les gusta el barullo. They like mischief. And they'll fight one another. Mine is bigger than yours. Mine is tougher than you. And they'll always end up in war and in disaster and things falling apart. But when a woman is there, puts them together, that's when they have empathy and compassion, and we realize there's only one race, the human race. So Bullock's, to me, the first time I started seeing her movies, I was saying, ay, 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 this one, esta de veras knows how to chingar. Yeah. That's a technical word in Spanish.
You know, she's very Latino-centric, too. Do you know she produced the George Lopez show? She was the one that made that greenlit and made that happen. My friend Valente Rodriguez was on that show. George Lopez, the comedian, had the first sitcom in a long time. There was Chico and the Man, Sanford and Son. My dad used to like those. But the Latinos didn't get a lot of representation.
No.
And like you said, you had a book in the 70s. In the 70s, there was like one Latin star, right? Probably.
Yeah.
There was no one to play you, or to play your characters.
Well, Macho is a... See, to me, I'm not a good writer. People think, oh, you're a brilliant, wonderful writer. No. Any 7th grade kid can write better than me. What I am is a rewriter. I will rewrite a book 50 times. And then they say, oh, this is great. Well, you should have seen how many times it wasn't good. And I'm only a respected, important writer because of all the drafts I do. And then I get up at 2:30 in the morning and my spirit guides come to me. Everything is about spirit guides.
Yeah.
And that's what my new book, I'm 84 3/4. I'm going to be...
When's your birthday?
May 11th.
My dad's was May 20th.
Oh, well, I'm going to be 85.
And he would have been 85.
Oh, what we need to understand is that good writing, think about it, the Bible. the Bible, like I don't read the Bible.
Okay.
That's the Jewish story.
Right.
It's not my story. But I'll tell you this. It's a foundation of family. And not a very good family. The brother kills the other one, and the guy that kills the giant ends up with 300 wives. And you know, it's a book, but it gives something to the next generation. And really good writing gives to the next generation. But what are you going to give? Greed and hate and war? Or are you going to give harmony and peace and love and tradition and bringing us together?
Would you say that's the foundation of your stories?
That's the foundation of my stories. I have it on my back of my shirt.
We created this. It's a generational. It has different generational perspectives every week. So there's going to be a lot of younger generation tuning in and seeing you, and they don't know. Was part of having to write 50 drafts just your nature, or was it part of you discovering that at age 40 that you had dyslexia?
Could you repeat what you said?
I want the people who don't know you, who are going to be listening, that might be from younger generations, just to help understand how amazing it is that you are such a best-selling writer coming from your background, what you discovered about yourself.
Well, all I know is that I started school and I didn't speak English, and I was terrified. And then, oh boy, that's all in the book, Burro Genius.
Yeah, it's all in there.
And what happened is I flunked the third grade twice.
There we go.
And I didn't learn to read till the age of 20.
There we go.
And
it's crazy.
And I
Victor,
didn't
that's so crazy.
know what to do. So I cheated my way through school. I paid this guy 25 cents a day to do my homework for me.
So good.
And 25 cents is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then to get into the university, back then they gave me my transcript, my thing, and they didn't have copies of it, so I took it, and an F.
Yeah.
You add a line to it, and it's an A.
Yes. Yes, very much so.
And a D, you put a little dent in it, and it's a B.
Yeah.
So I ended up with pretty good grades.
Same with C's. You can make those into B's pretty
I didn't
easily.
think of that one.
Or how they do the C.
C
A.
wasn't a problem. C wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
It was the D's and the F's.
That's true.
Yeah, and you can do a lot to improve your life. So anyway, I had so much hate and rage against racist people, against the establishment, against books that, the Indians, if they win, it's a slaughter. If the white guys win, it's a victory.
And they're always referred to as savages in the media and everything.
And then that I wanted to become a mass murderer. That was my, and I was a wrestler, so I was really strong because I wrestled pigs to put them in the truck for market, and I, as a sophomore, I tied in overtime the guy that took the state championship in my weight class, and people were astonished that I did that. I was astonished, and I wanted to kill, and I went to Mexico and found peace. People in the parks, the mothers would be feeding breasts, and they would be talking to their children, and they'd be giving the same songs that my grandmother would sing to me. And sana, sana, colita de rana, échate un pedito, y sánate mañana. Little pollywad, give a little fart and you'll be well tomorrow. and all these things. And I realized that English only had destroyed my life and my memories and my culture. And then I began to see that English only destroyed us, all the other cultures of the world.
You had a really good talk on the words the, or, and but.
Well, that didn't come till later. But what happened is once then I met this older woman. She was really old. She was 29. I was 19, so I thought she was really old. And she loved Mexico, and she loved the Mexican. But she took me to museums. She took me to culture, and
so this is a history you didn't grow up with.
Yeah,
America,
because in America they ridiculed that we had nothing, and she would read books to me. And she was from La Jolla, and her father had been in charge of counterintelligence for the army or something. And she grew up with her father talking to generals and admirals, and that's in the book Crazy Local Love. And so I came back proud of being a Mexican. So now I wasn't going to just bow my head down and accept that I was.
Because now you had your stories.
Yeah, I came back.
The Bible was someone else's story, and America there was some other story, but now you had your story.
I had my story of my people, and I was proud of being a Mexican for the first time. And I was 19 and a half when I came back. I was only down there for a year, and then I saw this young kid insult this black man that was a friend of ours, and his name was Jimmy, and he cut my father's hair. He was Jimmy the barber, and I'm a wrestler, so I jump up to beat the hell out of this guy, this white guy, and Jimmy says, no. So I go out and I scream, and I can't take it anymore. So at the age of 19, I decided to kill all the racist people. I made a list of the teachers and the nuns and the priests and everybody else, and then I scared myself, and it's all in the book. And I drove out of town, and I had a vision in Wyoming at 6,000 feet plateau that God never chose the Jews. The Jews chose God when they took their written form, when they took their oral story and put it in written form. And we all had to become writers. Every person needs to write their family's story. Every kid needs to start school by when they learn to write. What do you write about? Write about your dad, your mom, your family, your fantasies, the butterflies. Write about things that are happening to you. And so I started writing. I came home with this vision that I had to write my own story, and writing saved my life. The first 5 years I had rage and hate. Then I started having love and acceptance and understanding. And then finally I understood that all these horrible people of Western civilization, they didn't know any better. The language had them in prison, and little by little I understood that what Jesus Christ said. Forgive them, for they do not know. That's the most important lesson we have. They really don't know.
So you mentioned the language
and
is
then
the prison.
And that's when I began to ask God to help me write, and I began to learn how to read, and I'd question every word. And then you know how they take you to break up words to put them together, and that's the way. Well, I found this word that said "ma king," and I thought, what a female king. So I showed it to somebody. I said, look, this is Ma King. And they said, what are you talking about? That's the word making. And I said, it's making. It says Ma King. And they say, it comes from the word make, and you add an ing, and it's making. And I said, oh shit. So I'm learning how to read, but I'm making some major mistakes. And that's when I learned about the. Go ahead.
No. I was going to interrupt. I like the word making though, because it is Ma King, but it's like the act of making. To be a maker is kind of like that feminine kind of like.
That's true.
So it kind of works still.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Ma King.
It kind of still. You were right.
Oh.
You needed me back then
I
to
needed
let you
back.
know.
Oh,
because you were right. Like yeah. I got you.
Ma
I got
King.
you, Cosmic Soul Brother. I got you. I track you.
King.
The one conversation we had over the phone is why I call you my soul brother already, is because that story you had at 19, and I had my own crazy making story at 19. But really, I didn't have. My father gave me some of what you were able to say, articulate just now about having our story. My dad did give me that, but he was trying to assimilate so much to America coming in 1958 that it wasn't really, it was looked down upon to teach me Spanish. He's trying to kind of like mix his Bolivian roots. We've got llamas, stuffed llamas in our living room and stuff. But my mom was English and Irish, and it was just such a like acclimated to America. And I had to kind of discover it on my own. So what I was so jealous of, in the beautiful way with reading Gathering Stardust, was that your grandma gave it to you from the get-go.
Well,
you had it from the get-go on one level.
Yes, and see, that's what I'm 84 and almost 85.
Right.
And it just dawned on me. I've been working on this book for 12 years, and it was 350 pages long, 250 pages long, this book, Gathering Stardust. And then it wasn't working. It was like lectures, and it was like this, and it was ooky. It sounded too yucky, intellectual. And I went to sleep asking God, I need help. I really need help. I just can't do it without you. We have that deal since Wyoming that you don't chicken out on me and I don't chicken out on you. I need your help now. I went to sleep, and at 2 a.m. I woke up, boom! And I had it. I had an answer. It's so great when you have direct conversation. And Carmen, my wife that won't marry me, she said, "Are you okay, honey?" And I said, "Shh, shh." And I got up. I didn't even brush my teeth. I turned on the light and started writing. And I wrote like 12, 14, 16 hours straight. And I almost wrote the whole book. It's only 55 pages long. And what I discovered in the writing is everything, all of us, all over the world, in every culture, the most important things we know, we learn before kindergarten. We learn before 5 years old. We learn it starts in the womb.
Yeah.
And we hug. In the womb, you're liquid. You're in this liquid place of nothing but love.
It's like liquid bliss.
Yes, liquid bliss. And you're just, and it's so feels, and my mother loved me so much. And then I remember that my father would massage her stomach. And they say, how can you remember that? I said, I don't know how I remember that, but I do. And so I had the vision that if I could write it well enough, beautiful enough, all the kids, all the parents will start raising their kids with even more love and more acceptance and more understanding. And then the whole world will blossom into this thing of nothing but harmony and bless and love, and will transform. Because see, my grandmother explained to me, and my parents explained, that we belong to 6 sister planets, and all the other planets have already found world harmony and peace and abundance for all. Abundance for all. We're the last one that hasn't found it. And our star cousins that are constantly coming to us in spaceships,
Yeah.
they are rooting for us because we're the Hawaii of the five. We have the most beautiful planet, and they come here, particularly to Catalina Island locally,
Nice.
and we're right on schedule to burst into another world. And
Feels like
I
it,
could
doesn't
go on and on.
No, I know you can, and I want to interrupt too much, but I want you have a great flow
Keep
going.
going.
Well, I like there was a couple of things. One was in Gathering Stardust, you talk about how after your grandmother passed away, that your sister, was it your sister, she only has one memory, but it's of seeing your passed away grandma that had taken you on a journey to see her after she had passed.
Well, see, there. Did we bring copies of the book?
I don't know.
Can I have a book? Here is the book.
It's gorgeous too. Let's give a shout out to the
and then it
illustrator
has
too.
artwork.
Yeah, Jack.
And Jack.
It's beautifully put together.
Yeah, Jack, the illustrator, is from Oregon, and he lives with a bear.
Oh, this reminds me. Let's pick a card too, real quick.
He lives with a bear.
Grab
The
a card.
illustrator lives with the bear in Oregon.
Yeah, on his roof. Really, really. And then he's got deer that the doe came running to get away from dogs and into his yard, and he protected her, and she had her baby there, and her baby grew up and has horns, and all these animals live with him.
He's in Oregon?
Yeah, in Ashland.
Oh, that's perfect. My in-laws are kind of from there. All right, pick a card. That's your card for today. You can have two. Take two.
Okay.
One for your grandma. I had planned on picking one for your
I
grandma.
don't know what this word means.
Resilience.
What is resilience?
Resilience.
Toughness.
In the midst of anything. It's grit. It's that first Villaseñor who was fighting off all the Frenchmen and gave them all that hope. Is you never give up. You have resilience and you never give up.
But it was him. It's him writing his book for however many years.
It's a quality in someone.
Rewriting.
That's resilience.
And your dad telling you, "Oh, it's not good enough yet," or "It's not."
Oh, he told me I was tapado. He said I was constipated, and that's why my eyes were brown. I was full of shit.
And so you push through all that until finally.
So that's your word for today. And then your grandma's word is what?
Wisdom.
There you go. There's a whole deck of cards.
Spot on. All right, here's ours. We got to get mine too. Here, Stephen, get yours.
I grab one. So yeah, wisdom.
We just do this for fun at the beginning. Well, it's not fun. These are very powerful cards. I've been using them since I was 21 years old. These cards.
How old are you now?
54.
Oh,
so we're 30 years apart. Yeah.
You're a baby, and you're how old?
We're 2 days apart.
So we're both named Stephen. We're 2 days apart. He was born in Pasadena, and I was born in Glendale. So we bordered each other. It was like we were one, like we were meant to be. We're like wombed. We became best friends when he moved here at age 10.
Yeah,
then
10
we
years
lost.
later, we moved both down here.
How did you guys meet?
Just the neighborhood.
I had been
5th grade.
It was 5th grade.
Yeah, 5th grade class.
But I had friends, but never a true friend. And I read books nonstop. That's all I ever did, in imagination, and just read books nonstop. And so I was fine at school, socially adjusted, but after school, I only had my Star Wars toys and my books and my imagination. And then I met Steven, and I became addicted to him. He was like this best friend in every way possible. And I've had great friendships in my life, and I still do, but I had never found a friend like him. But we did split away in high school, so I reconnected with him 7 years ago, and
picked it back up.
Picked it right back up.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And now this is kind of our mythology. We're creating together this connection that him and I share.
And this you call this a podcast?
It's a movement, though. It's so much bigger.
Yeah, a podcast, and really, like, what we're trying to do is have this conversation with generations so they can kind of listen to each other. And
talking about generations, you just hit a big one.
Yeah.
What my writing has done, I'll give you an example. I gave a talk to a few hundred or 1,500 people, and then they're lining up for me to autograph the book and talk to me. And there is an older Mexican woman and her granddaughter and her daughter, and they're talking. And then the daughter is young and tall, and she says that she wants to talk to me privately. And the mother says, no, don't you see he has a line of people? We've already taken up enough of his time. Because, see, I give each person time. So,
You do.
I have a long line. It might take me 2 hours so then I said, no, if she wants to talk to me privately. Oh, no, we've already spent enough time with you, and we thank you very much. And I said, excuse me, she wants to talk to me privately. You guys go over there. So the mother and the grandmother moved over there, and the real beautiful young woman whispers in my ear and starts crying and said, your book has saved us. And I said, what do you mean? She said, I didn't want to read your book because it's about Mexicans and my background, Mexican culture. And I wanted to get away from that. And now I'm in medical school, and I wanted nothing to do with Mexicans or this. I want to be an American and this and this and that. And it's my American friends that told me I need to read this book. And they kept insisting. I kept resisting. Finally, one of them bought me the book and said, you're going to read this book. It's important for you to read it. So, and they're all in medical school with me. So I read it. And my God, I'm no longer ashamed of being Mexican. I'm proud. And we have a rich culture that I didn't know about. And my grandmother, now I'm not ashamed of her that she can't speak English. I'm proud of her and all the things she did to come to this country, and the suffering and cleaning houses, working in the fields to help my mother get further ahead than my mother, doing a lot of the same. Now I'm in medical school at a top university. And she said, my family is so strong with love. With family. And she's crying, and I'm crying, and we're crying, and then we're hugging, and she's kissing me. And she said, in your book, validated it. What your book does is it validates family. It validates generations, old people, middle people, and young people that are just coming in. It validates that we're good people. That there's only one race, the human race. We're good people, all of us, and shows us to be forgiving. And
it's crazy. It's such a good book because what you do too. Okay, so you did that for her. You put her back literally in touch with her heritage. But for anyone else who reads it, like fathers, like it allows your brain to open up in a way that it's never allowed to do, where you start remembering your own story and realizing to pass on your own story, and how the importance of your own story has really created everything about your whole humanity. Your whole lifetime is from these childhood stories that we had. And getting in touch with that inner child again, it's like, on the one hand, I could read this to one of my 4 kids, but at the same time, it's more like, it just inspires me to continue to tell them the stories of my dad, my grandpa, how we view things, ink and Quechuan, lenses, plant medicines, all of these things mixed with whatever Christianity that I kept. Not a lot of it, but some of it was so beautiful. It helped me to see angels as a child. It helped me to understand and to share all that, right? So that's what was almost lost. So thank you for writing that book, because it's lost too often. And I've never seen a book like this that just was so rich with everything you just said, and works on so many different levels than just a book to read or critique or enjoy.
And see, at that time, the book the woman was talking about is called Rain of Gold. That's my biggest bestseller.
Right.
And it's an intimidating book. It's a great big fat book, 600 pages. And I wanted to know, where did I have the guts to write that book, to write 16 years, 80 drafts, and walk out of $1 million contract when they wanted to call it fiction? Where do I get the guts that money isn't important? And I didn't have money. I had to borrow money for groceries when I walked out of the $1 million contract. And where do I get that guts? It's in Gathering Stardust. See, your soul came across the universe, gathering stardust along with a guardian angel. And you were sent here by the Creator to plant that stardust here on earth. And that stardust is heaven. Us human beings were sent here to earth to plant heaven. It's not about, and then we keep planting heaven and sprinkling it every day with love. And how do we spend? This book says in here that every day my grandmother would put me in a little cart. I'm 3 years old, and we'd go around the barrio, and we have to do something or say something to make at least 10 people smile and laugh. Mm-hmm. And that's how we help Papito Dios, little daddy God, make this a kinder, nicer, better world. And I had one reader call me after she read the book. She said, I'm doing it. I said, what are you doing? She said, I've never talked to strangers. And now, because of this book, I go to the market and I say to somebody, oh, what beautiful shoes you're wearing, or
that's crazy,
or this they're wearing. And I talk to people and I make them smile and laugh or something. And guess what? She says, it makes me happy. To make them happy and to make 1 and 2 and 3, 5 people happy fills me with such happiness that when I come home, I got energy. I'm not old anymore. I'm not even limping anymore. It's healing me inside out, and I cook with energy. And she said, it's a new life to do what your book
grandma
says
gave
to
you
do.
80 years ago. It's biblical. Like literally 80 years ago, when your grandma's like, we're going to tell 10 people something nice today. That's the only reason it's impacted this woman now, is because you channeled something that was exactly like biblical. It has the right magic to it, and that's the only reason. Otherwise, it's just a book. There's something in here that like you start seeing, like, how did you do this? And you don't even claim to did it. It feels like it was channeled from God. But like all of that wisdom 80 years later has changed this woman's life. And I'm telling you, the conversation with you right now, for me, because I really did study this hard this week to prep for you, but I had to read it 3 times. And the 3rd time I had to let go of anything I thought about it and just allow it to feed me. And that's what the conversation you're getting today is like, oh my God, he's coming in. And that's what, there's more. It's just started with me. Once you leave, this is now like, this is a really important work that you've done. And I'm so glad you did. It's weird, dude. It's a very weird book.
Let's change the word weird to blessed.
I know. I want to.
Blessed. Because, see, another person told me that just looking at the picture, see, it's a beautiful cover.
Yeah, it is.
And it goes over to the back. And just holding the book made them feel better. See, the book has got energy. Why do people go to see Michelangelo and carving and all that? Because an artist leaves his heart and soul in his art. This book, the man who illustrated it, lives with a bear, no joke, on his roof. And that bear loves him.
That's so crazy.
And I said, well, how close do you come? How close do you come to that bear? He says, well, I feed it with my hand. And I said, well, that's pretty close.
How'd you meet Jack?
My Terry, who works for me and types and does all the work, and she's my left hand or right hand, whatever you call it.
Right.
She looked on the yellow pages.
Yeah.
I don't know how she found him, but she
connected
just
you.
found him. Oh no, I know. He wrote a book called Bear Said. It's about the bear talking.
Got it.
What Bear Said.
That's good stuff.
And then she was looking at the artwork, and then gave me his number. We called and we started talking, and then I told him stories about my sister befriending a hawk and nursing it, and about
this is good.
she had a rattlesnake friend when she was in her 3 years old, and she came home and told mother, "I have a friend, a snake." And what does it do? It stands up and it goes, and it sings to me and it dances. And my mother got terrified.
Whoa.
And then they went out to try to find it and kill it, and they couldn't find it. So my sister said she never told him that she continued going to see the snake, and the snake continued singing and dancing. You see, my father said that the reason animals attack people is we stink with fear.
Yeah.
We're fear-based, and religions and politics make us fear-based. I mean, that's what this government is doing right now. So we stink with fear. The indigenous people in the Americas said you could smell white people a mile away because they smelled so bad with fear.
And that really makes us violent people, huh?
It makes animals. It makes animals want to defend themselves because we stink with fear. Like when you don't have the fear at the end of the book here, the skunks come up to me, and the deer come up to me, and the butterflies. And this book, what it does, it takes us back to when we used to plant heaven on earth. And that's what we need to start doing, is to plant heaven on earth.
It's funny that this week, so I've been working on a project for 2 years for business, and the goal is really to help businesses build love into their business, to have that same kind of effect like you're talking about, where someone can come home after their day of work, just because of so much love they had at work and the connections they made at work and with their customers and things like that. And we're trying to build this loving systems into people's work. And this is what I described it before I started on it, was planting a big seed, was the sort of the download I got in sort of the journey space and meditation was like, plant big seed. And it was to create a program that helps build love, pull it into people's works, and build systems so that it's not a random thing, that it happens over and over and over and over. It prompts people to be more loving, to be more empathetic, like that. So all of what you're saying is like,
and it launches this week, and
almost.
You're our guest this week. So it was I'm like, Victor's here to gift us, to help us to remember what this vision is, what we're attempting, this big seed, this big dream, by sharing what you're doing with this. This is what we do, right? We dream, and when we make these dreams happen, because it's from something bigger than us.
Way bigger.
Yeah.
Let me share with you about businesses being, it's not just love. Let me show you. Men are heroes. Let me take off my clothes and show you this.
So good.
Lift that up. Lift that up for a second.
It says,
that camera. Just lift the whole thing.
Million-year family.
Men, our heroes. Women, our natural leaders. Children, our angels. One race, one humanity. Right? Is that what it says, Stephen, at the end there?
One race, our human race.
One race, our human race.
Yeah. And see...
You're looking very stylish, by the way.
The way to put...
Okay, keep going.
My father was a businessman and a professional gambler. I saw him win $65,000 in one night in the late 50s in Las Vegas. which would be like
That's a lot.
600,000,
Yes.
almost
Crazy.
$1 million a day. And he consistently would win about 10 to 15,000
I
every
can't even
time
imagine
he
how
won.
that impacts you, seeing your dad living on the edge.
And people would say, how do you win in Las Vegas? He said, I'll explain it to you. It's business, but you're not going to believe me. He said, I've explained it to people for years, and they laugh at me. Only one person has ever gotten it. It starts with understanding that money isn't going to bring you happiness.
Yeah.
Money is just paper or gold.
Yeah.
It's not.
So what I was
really,
talking about, we're playing with the wrong currency a lot of
Yeah,
times in business.
it's-
Money is
it's-
money. There's a currency of love that we don't.
And it's not just that
Yeah.
currency. He would drive up to the ranch. He bought 160 acres on the beach for $20,000. And what happened was Pearl Harbor had just happened, and people were running in fear, thinking the Japanese were going to come and bombard California. And his mother, the short little Indian woman, in my books, Doña Margarita said, wherever there's fear, there's opportunity. And that's why all the religions and all the governments want to make their people full of fear. Then you can control them.
Capitalize on the resentment of people. And
Exactly.
Use that.
So he'd come home after a bad day and all that in the old ranch truck, and it took him a quarter of a mile to come through our gates and trees and orchards, and before he'd slam on the brakes and he'd jump out and he'd say, the hero, let's celebrate. Something almost went right.
Oh, it's so good.
And see, he wouldn't come home and say, oh, it's been a bad day, nothing went right. No, he'd do the opposite.
Wow.
He would yell, the hero, let's celebrate. Something almost went right. And he knows that when you have that attitude, it, as he said, it makes the stars happy. It makes creation happy. It makes the whole spirit world. And they bless you.
Yeah.
Like in this book here, talking about business, in this book here, my father, when he finds, he yells one time, I hate the rich. I hate the rich.
Okay.
Oh, the rich are no good. I hate them. I hate them. And my mother says, stop talking that way, Sal. You know, and he says, why? My mother always said that if you hate somebody, God punishes you and makes you just like him. So punish me, God. Make me rich, God. Make me rich, God. And my father
I did
said,
not see that one coming.
we need to have fun.
Yeah.
That's why Muhammad Ali is my hero of the 20th century. Most people don't get it. He never said he had a fan club. He had a fun club. He always said fun. For businessmen to move from bottom line, all this, it's got to be fun. It's got to be fun. And then once you're having fun, you're happy. And once you're happy, you give in abundance. You don't hoard. You've realized that money is called currency. You give and you're generous. You're having fun.
I was going to say, how do you have
for
fun?
businessmen to move into love, they got to have fun. They got to yell, I'm the hero, the hero. You got to remember the famous words that Churchill said. Success is not, how did he say it? It's in the book right here. This book has all those great quotes.
I just watched a documentary on Churchill on Netflix.
Oh, no, it's not in this book. It's in the book, Brutal Genius. And he says, success is not final. Failure is not what? Is not fatal.
Oh, okay.
Success is not final. Failure is not
Fatal.
Fatal. What you need is the nerve to continue.
I was just telling my wife last night too how Churchill would he would never hide from the bullets or try to duck and stuff, because if he was gonna die, he was gonna die.
Yeah.
And he had that to him. And he also knew the cameras were going to be there on him, and it would look good. It was like
and also he had the great line why the cameras. He said women will never be equal to men until they can be bald-headed, have a pot belly, and walk down the street and still think you're sexy. What you want to tell these people, not businessmen, is not a lecture.
Okay.
They need to realize to have fun. To have fun, and then automatically love is everywhere and abundance for all. I've seen men, I give compliments to people, 10 people every time I leave my house and make them laugh. There was this man that had thick glasses, and he had his face like this, his jaws all, and you could see he was well dressed. He was very successful, and he was pissed off at the world because he worked so hard to get to where people, they resent because they think they worked hard. You didn't work as hard as a woman giving birth.
Right.
You didn't work as hard as all this and this. Men, though, they think they work hard. Anyhow, they've had it hard. They're spoiled. So anyhow, he was like this, very angry like this. And I was thinking to myself, what can I say to make him smile and laugh? And I'm walk by, I don't know. Then it dawns on me, and I come back. I say, those are really cute glasses you're wearing. And he said, what? I said, your glasses, they're really cute. And he takes them off to look at them. I said, oh, it's not your glasses. You're cute. And he says, I'm cute? And I said, yes, you're really cute. And he starts laughing and laughing.
That's so good.
He doesn't know how to handle it. He says, nobody's called me cute since my mother.
It's very much a trickster energy you have there.
And all of a sudden, he's laughing and laughing. And I said, and we started talking. And I asked him what he does. And he says, not much. He's retired. And I said, you're not retired. You need to be inspiring now.
Okay.
And
we'll know if it's going well for him if he's having fun at this launch.
Yeah.
And
you got to laugh a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
what's your word, by the way, today?
Patience.
Patience is his word.
That's a tough one.
Okay.
And you need to keep always also remember why the Jews lost the Garden of Eden. The poor Jews, my father said, lost the Garden of Eden. He was a bootlegger, remember, is because they had no tequila. He said if the Jews had tequila instead of that sick, sweet red
they'd still
wine,
be in the garden, is it saying?
they'd shoot him down, we'd still be in the garden.
Yeah.
So what you're doing for businesses is very important. You move people from here to laughter. And the business world really needs that. You're going to have a great success on that.
I think now it will, right? We are now in 2025.
Yes.
Like I've literally interviewed, I don't know, all these CEOs and everything, but I love bringing some of the business questions into here because I get the CEO answers a lot of times on stuff. But here, this is probably one of the best bits of advice.
Yeah.
Out of all that
this is the storytelling aspect of it.
It's so important.
All of this is kind of tying into this concept of love.
I see so many people not having fun with what they're doing. It's just, and they bring that home with them too, right? Where it's just wasn't a fun day. And their interactions with people are like that all the time, and it affects then their family, and that affects their children, and there's this whole ripple effect.
Yeah,
and we spend so much time with it, our lives in this business world, and it's just a tragedy how poorly we understand it, and it impacts people and the ripple effects.
And it impacts. It makes. Why do you think men die younger than their wives, and they have heart attacks, and they have bellies, and then they work out, try to get in shape? They're missing the big point. They work out seriously too. See, our whole world takes things too seriously because of 3 words: the, or, and but.
Yes, you brought it back.
See,
Go into
if
it.
we didn't have those 3 words, we wouldn't have uptight asses. Can I go into that?
Expand on
Yes,
that.
please. I'm waiting.
Okay. Okay. I didn't learn to read till the age of 20, but I was a chess champion.
Oh.
And I could beat everybody. I couldn't learn to play chess, and then this Marine gave me a chess set in the 7th grade, and I started learning how to play. And suddenly I realized that the 2 horses jump, and they control the board. And then I started seeing patterns, and I became a chess champion. I shocked myself. I beat all the smart students with ease. All the teachers and professors. By now, my parents had me in a private school, the Army Navy Academy in Carlsbad, because I flunked public school, and then I got in trouble in Catholic school because I proposed marriage to a little nun, and
That's so good.
and she was beautiful, and I made.
Gotta take a shot.
And then this one teacher, he said, why don't you stay after school and play a few games with me? And I said, I don't have time to beat you. And he said, what makes you think you can beat me? And he said, well, I've watched you play. You're not very good. And he said, I was the best in West Point, I'll tell you, and this and this and this. And I said, where's West Point? He said, back east. I said, then why do they call it West Point? So he got very angry, and I beat him 5 times in a row, and he finally threw the board down and screamed at me, and he said, you're not a stupid Mexican. You're just lazy. And I said, thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. And he said, now you're ridiculing my insults? I said, that's not an insult. I've been called stupid Mexican so much that now I'm just a lazy Mexican. I'm coming up in the world. And what happened was, because I was a chess champion, they brought in a chess champion to embarrass me. I beat him too.
Wow.
And then when I started learning how to read at the age of 20, I would examine every word just like I'd examine the moves and the patterns. And I noticed that there was a word in the English language, the, that people used a lot to elevate things. And then I tried to talk to teachers about it, and they didn't understand me. They thought I was stupid or something. But I see patterns they don't see. So finally I figured it out. They say we lost the Garden of Eden because we ate of the tree of knowledge. We did. We ate certain concepts and words that trapped us in our brain and separated us from our heart. And that's why we have businessmen that are angry and this, and why the world is angry. The word the is only European based out of the Mediterranean Sea. The Swedes up north don't have it. No indigenous people have it. No Asian people have it. Russian doesn't have it. Only a small segment has the word the. The rest of the world has that tree and this tree. Only a small segment has the tree in front of my house. You could say tree in front of my house. You don't have to say the. But now I'm going to ask you something. What happens to truth when you put the in front of it?
Limits it.
Or it distances you.
And or it says this is
Removes
the
it
only
one
truth
step.
to something.
Go one at a time.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
No. Go ahead.
I was saying it kind of limits it.
Okay.
Right. It defines it as this is the only definition of it.
Okay.
The
That's good.
singular.
I said it creates a distance. Like that tree and this tree has a personal connection to me. The tree I can pretend is not of me.
That's barking up the right tree, but you're missing the point.
Okay, that's it.
You white guy.
He got it.
You got it. And I'll tell you this, you're rare. Less than 0.1% of white men can get it. Now, interesting enough, when I tell it to Asians, they all get it because there's no the. When I tell it to Russians, they get it because there's no the in Russian. And when I tell it to indigenous people, they get it. But white male men, European-based, will not get it. Women get it. Women get it. But white male men cannot get it. What you just did is rare. Now, I'm going to ask you this question. What happens to the Bible when you take the away from it and you put a in front of the Bible?
Oh.
Yeah.
What happens?
It allows people to believe other things a little bit more. Like it opens up, this is a version of our story. Here's another version of our story.
Exactly. As soon as you take the Bible away, it opens it up that there are other Bibles. And I naively, when I discovered that at the age of 20, I saw it when I started learning how to read at 22. I thought everybody was going to love me. They hated me. Even my friends hated me. That's not true. And then I realized it was a threat. That's why people can't see it. See, once we take the away from the Bible, then everybody has Bibles. Every family has a Bible. Every person has a Bible. And then I looked up what Bible means, and Bible means group of stories.
Wow.
Originally. So we all need to write our stories, which is what I started from. We each need to write our Bibles. We need to have a journal. We need to write down and then how do you keep it short? You write down all the good things that happened for the day. I had a good bowel movement.
Yeah.
I enjoyed brushing my teeth. My car started. And then the things that weren't good. Well, somebody was pissed off at me. That's only one. Then all of a sudden, at the end of the day, you'll find out that you have like 20, 30 good things that happen and only 3 or 4 bad things. But what do we do as a society?
We focus on
We
those.
only remember the bad ones. So then we're pissed off at the end of the day. And as business people, because we're chasing a superficial thing as money, thinking it's going to make us happiness, we are setting ourselves up every day to be upset and angry at the end of the day. On the other hand, when you think of all the good things that happen to you, you're setting up yourself at the day to roll with the punches, to come home yelling, I'm a hero, let's celebrate and have a double shot of tequila, because remember the Jews lost their garden because they didn't have tequila.
Go ahead.
I think like for business people, they get so stressed out and stuff, but they lose sight of that gratitude, like you're talking about. If you're in that stressy place, go back and do that sort of practice that you talked about, where it's like, here's the 10, 20 things that I'm grateful about for today that happened, and it gets you out of that mindset, and it's just something you have to turn into a practice instead of
It's an art.
I was going to say, is it an art or is it a muscle?
It's a practice. It's an art to turn things around and teach yourself how to be happy.
It's an art.
I was wrong. Here are all the quotes in this book. And one of my favorites is, every day thousands of geniuses live and die undiscovered, either by themselves or others. You read these and they tell you a whole story. And then the opening scene in this little book is this: thankfulness. When we're thankful, it helps us. It helps us. When we forget to give thanks every day. See, when the light turns green for me, I say, thank you, God. That was fun. And I say, fun. When I'm going somewhere and a car almost hits me but didn't, I said, thank you, God. I'm glad they didn't hit me. I'm thankful all day.
Because that light turned green at the right time for you.
Yeah.
Later. Yeah.
And exactly. And so what you're offering for business people, well, let me tell you this. A young millionaires club, they were all millionaires before 40. Millionaires and multi-millionaires invited me to give them a talk because they read Crazy Local Love. No, because they read Burro Genius. And they said that my story in there of how I learned to be a marble champion in 3rd grade, how I went from not knowing, then my father gave me tips and hired somebody to teach me, and I became the champion and won all models. They said is the greatest business story for success that they've ever read. It's better than all the books on business. And they invited me to speak to them, and they gave me these hand-carved rocks that looked like marbles. It was worth a fortune. And that little story is something that business people will really want to know. And then the story of how my father, he was a tough, aggressive go-get-em, but when he would go after something, he'd come back and tell my mother, the feminine energy, I want to do this and this, and she'd say, it's not going to work. Instead of him getting angry and all that, he'd say, okay, why isn't it going to work? And she said, because of this and this. And he said, he'd almost angry because she just didn't see it. She just didn't see it. And then, but because his mother had raised him as a girl for the first 7 years of his life, what used to be indigenous people, he didn't blow up. And he'd go and digest it and sleep on it. Then he'd come back and present it again. She says, oh, that's much better. It might work. But still this and this and this and this and that. And then he'd go away, and he said about the 4th time, she'd say, oh, it's going to work now. The only difference is this and this and this and that. And see, my father was a hitman for the Jewish Mafia, for the Italian Mafia, for the Chinese Mafia.
Wow.
And yet, he didn't kill people. He'd always go to his mother and said, they need this man dead. They need this and this. Okay, why do they want him dead? Well, because of this and this and this. Okay, let me think about it. And then she would explain to him that killing, that wars don't work. That doesn't work. You've got to find out why this war or why this killing is necessary. And then she'd come up with a whole different thing. Because if you kill people, they just want to kill you back. Yeah. But she'd come up with a theory with how to handle it with such terror that it was beyond killing. That's why my father, this is true. You know, The Godfather, the movie, The Godfather, you know, the horse head getting cut off. My father did that. Do you hear me? My father did that.
Apparently at your mother's advice to him.
And his mother's advice, that was it. She
wow.
She said they want this man to do what they want him to do, to hire Frank Sinatra for this and this and that. And he won't do it. Okay, tell me all about him. Well, and so he investigated and found out he was in love with this $1 million horse or $10 million horse and this and that. She said, okay. And she told him to cut the horse's balls off and cock and head and they put him actually in the kitchen when he went to get coffee, not in the bed. And it worked. The guy went insane with fear, realized that the FBI couldn't defend him, and he gave Frank Sinatra the part That's why my parents, when they'd go to Las Vegas, the real handsome guy that hung out with Frank Sinatra, what was his name? The tall
Dean Martin?
Dean Martin would come to their table and say, "Oh, hi, Sal," and they would
Really?
"Oh yeah," they'd give him a good table. But Frank Sinatra never came to give thanks, and people in the Mafia would always honor my father because he solved things without going to war and without killing people, but he would solve them in a way that was so big and terrifying that people didn't want to get revenge back. They would say, "Oh no." And this comes from women running things. That's why grandmothers, according to the Lakota Indians, were in charge of war. Grandmothers figure out how to have wars without and they're actually called battles, not wars. And they'd be 3 days long, 3 days or 5 days. Lydia Whirlwind Soldier explained it to me, that her grandmother and the women were in charge of wars, and they stop a war at its highest point, so each side can go back and say they won. Each side say, "Oh, because men need to be veterans. Men are so fragile."
There's a pride there that they stop it at a moment where they can both have.
Exactly. And that's what happens to happen in business too. See, barking up the business tree, it's got to have a whole new understanding of the purpose of business.
That's what he's doing. It's crazy, man.
That's what it's about. It's about the purpose. Is changing people at the purpose level.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of their business. Yeah.
And why do people want a successful business? Because they want to be happy, because they want to be secure, because they want things for their family. Well, you don't do that by getting rich, because if you get rich, you didn't spend time with your family.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly right. That's where we start with. It's that purpose. What's the higher purpose here at play, and trying to tell
what is
that
the
story.
higher purpose? Fun, happiness, a sense of security, not fun and happiness. I mean, nobody had more fun in life than my father.
There's a story. There's this guy named Stephen Bartlett. Oh, another Stephen. He's I think he has the biggest podcast in the world, like Diary of a CEO. But his company.
What's it called?
Diary of a CEO. But this is in regard to fun. He created a building. His building had like this rock climbing thing on the outside that was bigger than any rock climbing efficacy you could, whatever the word is for that, you could ever find at any gym or any like stimulated place. And even if no one would ever actually maybe climb it because they're just too busy working and stuff, it would always remind them of this aspect of life. It was so audacious. It would just make people want to work there. But fun was underneath it all. It recalled that spirit to them. Even if they never did it, it just made them want to work. He said it was how he stood out, how he stood apart, and it was something in him. So when you talk about fun, I feel like that's where my brain goes, is to like, oh yeah, like creating these like little, like, they're not even little, but like these things that are just out of the ordinary that take you by surprise and catch you off guard. That to me is fun.
Well, see, listen to what you just said. These things that take you out of the ordinary and give you a surprise. That's what we need to do moment by moment. And we can't do it with I didn't talk about the.
I know we had two more words to get to. We got or and but.
Bring it back. We'll go to the.
Okay, well, so then the is such a dangerous word, and all of European mentality that conquered the world is imprisoned because of those three words. Thank God I didn't learn to read till the age of 20, so I was never imprisoned. So here you have a society that this is the Bible, this is the truth, and everything is the. And then how do you back up the Bible, the truth? The three words that put us in a prison in European-based language is the, or, and but. How does or back up the to keep you in the prison?
Gives you a choice of one or the other, not multiple choices.
You are not stupid. You are one chingon smart guy.
I have my moments. There are many kinds of intelligences.
Yeah.
So.
That's why we're a good team.
And you have cute ears.
He is, and he's cute. He is
They're
cute.
pretty good.
Yeah. So, listen. Or forces you into polarity.
That's his indigenous name, Cute Ears. I'm going to start calling him that from now on. Sorry. Go ahead.
And so, do you get it or not? Do you get it or not? And then let's say that I still don't want to accept that this is the truth or the Bible, and you're yelling at me. Do you get it or not? Do you get it? And forcing me to pull. I say, wait. I want to talk. So now I talk. What do? You pretend to listen. And I talking and I'm giving it all my heart. And you pretend to listen. You say, yes, I hear you, brother. I hear you. I hear you, sister. I hear you. Then once I'm finished, you say, okay, I heard you. But, and now I start talking. What have I done with but?
Can I say this one? I want to try and be smart.
Go for it.
You've discounted everything that he just said before that.
Exactly.
The only thing that really you're saying is whatever you're saying after that word but.
So I
did
erase everything you said. I gave this talk to 500 lawyers in Portland, Oregon, plus executives and administrators. And one lawyer screamed out after I talked about that. He said, but those three words are our bread and butter. Without them, we don't have any power. And I said, well, that's why you guys have such superficial power and blah, blah, blah. And I walked off. And
how many of you here are happy?
yeah, that would have been a good question. But so I got in the elevator, and this guy with kinky white hair ran and jumped in the elevator with me. This is 35 years ago, so I had black hair. I was in my 50s. And he jumps in, and he said, are you an American? I said, almost. I'm a Mexican American. And he said, well, I want you to know that I'm an international lawyer. I speak 8 languages and fluently and know 5 others. And I solve disputes globally. And I want you to know that the United States is the country that resists more than any place in the world. And I use those tactics that you used. He said, I just settled a dispute between the Turks and the Greeks where they've been killing each other over sewage and water for nearly 3,000 years. I settled it in 6 months. How did I do it? I took each one aside and showed them that they don't have a sewage problem. I show people they don't have political problems, they don't have religious problems, they don't have economical problems. What they have is language problems. And then I showed each one that these were the words that caused them not to hear these people, and these are the words that caused them not to be able to understand these people. And once they understood that it was the language, I bring them back to the table, and guess what? The problem dissolves itself. Why? Because there's no, catch this one, there's no such thing as a problem globally, religiously, politically, or
what's the other one?
Or economically.
Yeah.
All we have globally is language problem.
Yeah.
Because a problem is not, problems do not exist. A problem is, in fact, an agreement between opposing sides. It's an agreement. If whether it's abortion, whether it's a border, Democrat or Republican or conservative or or Republican. It's an agreement that you've agreed on that. And once you see that it's an agreement, I'm able to move people into it, and the problem dissolves. It never existed. That's the future of the world. Mm. And they said, and you're the first one that I've ever met that understood that understands that. How did you get there? And I said, well, I didn't learn to read till the age of 20, and I was a chess champion, and I was always called and he said, and then he said, so I was a chess champion too. And this is what you bring this to business people, and it would take for you a Friday, a Saturday, several to bring them together, and that's when you move them into that language is the problem. And it's not a problem. Mm-hmm. Is this making sense to you?
When do we get to have the launch party then? Or should we wait? We have not had a party.
Wait, I want to ask him.
No, see, he doesn't even want to talk about a party.
No. Yeah.
I tried to slide that in because I mentioned it, and he kind of bypasses it.
No.
Parties are fun. Tell him parties are fun.
I know, but I want to go. We talked about words he doesn't like. What's one word that you do like?
What's your favorite word?
Like your favorite word, a singular word.
Harmony, because the Navajos say it best. The way they describe reality, this reality, mm-hmm. it's a walk in beauty. And when you walk in beauty, you see the trees beautiful, the rocks. You see this argument people going on. It's a beautiful argument. Everywhere is beauty. Mm. And then you enjoy all this beauty all around you. And then when you harmonize with it, then you're part of beauty. And now you're beautiful. And everything is beautiful. So harmony is the key. And then the byproduct of harmony, well, they say you walk in beauty, you harmonize with your surroundings, and then you move into being godding, a verb. God is a verb. It's not what you believe, it's what you do. And now you're at peace. If you go for peace straight, you'll never get it. You have to find personal balance, and you do that by walking in beauty. Then you harmonize with your surroundings. And see, I'm already smiling. Mm-hmm. You can't stop smiling. And now you are at peace inside. And once you're that, you're godding. You're part of God. You're part of creation. You're creating. If business people realize that the fun is to create, the fun is to bring harmony, that's the way to go. See, God created the universe. That's one united verse. That's one united song. And once you harmonize with the universe, then your personal song is in tune. Have you ever seen a mother or a father walking with a little kid to the mall, and the mall's got music going, and the little kid starts? Have you seen that?
Sure.
I've seen my son, who could barely talk, feel the rhythm of music and just start. When he was little, just start automatically. It was in him, right?
What's his name?
Ethan.
Well,
he's 20-something now, but when he was little, it was just
okay. Well, see, that's why in the book, The Wisdom Keepers is so good. It's about indigenous people. I've bought 20 of those books and given them away. Charlie, in the book, says, when you know my song, you know Charlie. We all come in with a little personal tune. That's everything is vibrational frequencies in existence. Everything. Trees are vibrating one frequency, rocks another. We come in vibrating with a certain song. So when we hear music, we just start moving, and it helps us get, and once our tune is in harmony with the symphony of creation, we're gloriously happy. There's no such thing as greed. There's no such thing as war. Greed, see, people think it's human nature to have greed. There's a word for that. That's bullshit. That's a technical word.
Yeah, technical. Yeah.
You see, language owns us. When we didn't have a concept of private property, we couldn't have greed. Greed didn't exist. That's why when I'm with indigenous people and people that are, they have no greed. They don't know how to do business. They don't know how to be a businessman. They don't know how to get ahead, and that because they're happy. And so
It's good stuff, man.
Right now, how are you feeling? You.
Me and
Right this second.
Right
how
this
are-
second, you kind of brought me to a good place with the.
No, I said,
harmony.
how are you feeling? That's thinking.
Oh yeah,
How are you feeling?
I'm very contented.
No, that's a think. That's a thought. What are you feeling right now? I see you smiling. What are you feeling?
Joy,
Okay, then say it. How are you feeling?
joy.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Okay.
You have a habit. I see in your eyes. You think too much, and that's why you have wrinkles above your forehead.
Yeah, I've got to get to my intuitional side more and feeling more.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
And now yeah. What I tell men, and this you don't want to probably put in there, men who think too much, I look at them straight in the face and I say, you only play with your left ball, don't you? And they say, what? I said, don't you? They said, well, yeah, that's true. And I said, start playing with both of them.
That's so good.
Start playing with both balls and make love more often.
That's the title of this episode. Playing with both balls.
See, now what are you doing?
Villaseñor.
Now you're laughing.
Now he's laughing.
How are you feeling right now? Full of laughter. How are you feeling?
Full of laughter. Yeah.
Okay.
Dude.
That's how you move the business world. Mm-hmm. You don't move them into love. You move them into full of laughter.
Oh, my God.
And the word for full of laughter is a word I'm going to teach you right now. That's very important. Now pronounce it with me. Say, carcajadas.
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 Say it.
Yeah, carcajadas.
No, carcajadas.
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 Carcajadas. No. Carcajadas.
Carcajadas is
I'm
laughter.
channeling my uncle.
Laughter
Carcajadas.
that causes the belly to shake
Carcajadas.
and heals the body.
You got to say it from there.
You get
From
people.
here.
You get people laughing with con carcajadas,
That word's used a lot in Gathering
and
Stardust, too.
it
Carcajadas.
heals. It opens up the
Carcajadas.
heart
Carcajadas.
and heals the body and gives life to the soul. And that's your liquid bless.
Yeah, that's it, dude.
And we're done.
You brought it, man. Thank you for coming in today. That
Let's
was
end
amazing.
right there. That was like dessert just ended.
Okay.
That was dessert.
That was great.
Thanks for coming in, Victor. Thanks for
All
bringing
right.
in,
So
Steve.
where's the tequila?
Where's the tequila?
My
Oh
wife's
my
got
gosh.
some. I got.
We have a nice big. Okay, thank you.
Or
That'll
the
be here.
mezcal.
That's going to be here next time for the future. You just get. Yeah, we have to have that bottle of tequila. Maybe even
Or
one
mezcal. You guys don't drink?
No, yeah, my wife. I drink for sure.
Oh no, we
I
drank.
got a bar, but my wife's really been interested in tequila. Really good tequila.
Really
lately.
good
like in
tequilas.
the past few weeks. Like she's really trying to up her.
She
tequila
gave
game.
my wife tequila for her birthday last week.
Yeah, last week.
So you're hitting the right spot. No, this is very perfect.